so I'll start with this one here. We have a Nike or Nike, however you want to say it, shoes here. I apologise for the box. I don't know if you can see, there is a bit of a dent. I had a little accident, but the shoes are fine. So, have you had any? You have had them before, yeah. They are very comfortable, yes. I think any of the AirMax in particular, I know that's the point. Obviously they've got bubbles, but they're very comfortable. This is also AirMax shoes. Okay, so let's have a look. Little tissue here. There we are. Some grey shoes. Now if I just get one out here. And here we are. These are the Nike AirMax IVOs. They are multiple shades and material of grey. If you feel, or you can see here, it's a nice smooth matte grey, and then we have a more sort of almost purpley grey hue to the rougher material, and then we have the darker grey accents all along, and of course the black tick. And if you look closely here, we have blue speckles. Lots of blue speckles. Along the sole, and the air bubbles themselves are also blue, or pale blue. We have a nice big blue badge which matches the AirMax on the tongue of the shoe. I think these are very, very pretty. They're very, they are quite ordinary, like you asked for, but I think the little added blue and the bubbles blue, the speckles on it, it really makes an ordinary shoe interesting still. I think they're really pretty. And of course they're very, very comfortable, trust me. Do you want to feel see if that's soft? Yeah. And yeah, there's lots of different textures going on in this shoe. But I think that's kind of a Nike signature, really, isn't it? They always have different sort of matte, shiny, textured. So, what do you think to these? You like them? Yeah, they are. As I say, they are very pretty, but they are still a normal shoe, and because they're grey, of course, they'll go with basically anything, which I think sometimes is better. I mean, it's all very, very cool to have, a bright orange shoe, glad you like them. They are very, very nice pair of shoes. Okay, I am so glad I got the first bit correct. Just put that back in there. So, that is the Nike AirMax IVO. I am really glad you like these. As I say, these were, as I'm sure you can tell, these were the chunkier ones I was talking about. The other pair are much more narrow, thin fit, and I do believe sometimes that matters with what you're wearing. Like, I personally, if you're wearing, say, a dress, I wouldn't really wear a chunky shoe. You know, I feel like narrow, thin shoes are better. Of course, it's based on your preference, but that's just me. So I'm glad you like these. I will show you the other pair I have. I don't know if you're actually looking to buy 2 pairs of shoes today, but I know you want these ones, but I'll show you the others anyway. Let's swap over here. Okay, so if you couldn't guess by the narrower shoe, these are Converse AllStar. This box is in better condition. Have you had a pair of Converse before? Okay. Yeah, I must admit I've had them as well. They're sort of cheaper. They're more just a regular baseball shoe. They're not actually made by Converse. Yeah. Okay. Well, I will say, even though I've done it myself, the real Converse are comfier, much more comfy. But, you know, it all depends on what you can afford, so I've done it myself, it's totally fine. So, let's see what you think of these. Again, I went with ordinary colour like you asked. We've got all the Converse AllStar badges up there. Let's see. Ta-da! So, again, I went for grey, but surprisingly, I don't know how many different shades there are of grey, but I think this colour is actually not one of the greys that's on the Nike shoes. So you have all different shades of grey here today. So let's get these out. Here we go. So this is a very, very pale grey. It is, I mean, you can see by the white, it is actually very close to white, I would say. It's an extremely pale grey. I don't actually know what colour they call this, if they've given it a name, I'm not sure. I stand corrected. It is so pale that it's not actually called grey, they've called it ghost white. So that proves my point. It is very, very pale grey. But again, I think these are a very pretty shoe, but as you can see, these, unlike the Nike, do have a very high heel with the Converse badge printed on the heel, and of course the main Converse badge. But you can feel these as well. They are just the typical material. There's no other textures going on here. They are also, if you have noticed, they are a little bit of a high top. They aren't the regular flats. So not only do you get a little bit of extra height with these ones compared to a regular flat Converse, but they also have extra sponginess on the inside, so these are also very comfy, even though, of course, the AirMax, again, you get extra height because of the bubbles. These have extra padding, so they're both very, very comfortable. So, what do you think to these? Yeah. You've never had the high tops? Yeah. I personally prefer a high top. I don't really know why, because I don't really care about being any taller or anything, but I just think they're very comfy. And I quite like how chunky they look. So, what do we think? Okay, great. You want to take both of them? Oh, great. I've done a good job. Yeah, I can show you them both at the same time, yeah, just to show you. Just get the other shoe here. Yeah, so as you can see, looking at them side by side, this is much, much chunkier than the Converse. There's a very smooth, indent of where the sole and arch of your foot goes. Of course, they're a baseball shoe, but that's their design. It goes inwards. The Nike don't really have that. They're much wider, chunky, and of course the material at the back as well. You can see Converse are much thinner, but they are both very pretty shoes. And I think I was right in saying this ghost white grey that they call it is much, much paler than the Nike. As you can see, it is much paler than any of the 3 or 4 shades of grey that's on the Nike. Yeah, they are both very pretty though, and trust me, they're both really, really comfortable. So yeah, so you've chosen well, and I've chosen well. You want to take them both? Okay, great. Well, luckily both of these are your actual size, so if you're happy with these two and you're okay with the slight dent in the Nike box, then these are the two you can